They're called fantasy coffins, and they're personalized to each person. That means they are complex and colorful, depicting everything from basketballs to tomatoes.
What if your coffin could tell the story of your life? What shape would it take? How did a small community in Ghana turn funerals into a canvas for personal expression, creating vibrant symbolic coffins that mirror the passions and professions of the deceased? In Ghana, this idea is not just a fantasy, but a reality. Here, death is not simply an end, but a celebration, and funerals are grand events where the deceased are honored in ways as unique as the lives they lived. Imagine being laid to rest in a coffin shaped like an airplane, a lion, or even a microphone, reflecting who you were and what you loved. These are no ordinary coffins. They are vibrant works of art that turned burial into a deeply personal tribute. Join us as we delve into the fascinating world of Ghana's fantasy coffins, where every burial becomes a final expression of life and creativity. In the lively town of Teshi, a fishing community near Ghana's capital, Accra, the air is thick with the scent of fresh fish and the rhythmic sounds of hammers and saws. This is where a unique tradition comes to life, a craft that turns the solemnity of death into a celebration of life. Here, carpenters work under the open sky, pouring their energy and skill into shaping wood into extraordinary forms. These aren't ordinary coffins. They are intricately designed fantasy coffins, each one telling a personal story about the deceased, reflecting their passions, professions, and status. The craft of making fantasy coffins is a deeply rooted tradition passed down through generations. For many in this community, it's more than just a profession. It's a way of honoring the dead in a creative and personal way. Despite raised eyebrows from some, this art has become an iconic part of Ghanaian culture, attracting attention from around the world. The coffins take the shapes of objects that hold significant meaning to the deceased: a pen for a writer, a microphone for a broadcaster, a cocoa pod for a farmer, or even a lion for a chief, symbolizing their authority and strength. The craftsmen who create these coffins see their work as an important and honorable task. Although it might seem grim to some, they understand that death is a part of life, and their job is to give the departed a unique send-off that reflects their identity. These coffins are not just simple wooden boxes. They're intricate sculptures that capture the essence of a person's life. Whether it's a truck for a driver or a palm fruit for a farmer, each design is carefully chosen to align with the profession or passion of the deceased. The process of crafting a fantasy coffin is detailed and labor-intensive. It begins with precise measurements to ensure the coffin fits the body comfortably, what the craftsmen sometimes refer to, ironically, as breathing room. Once the shape is carved, the wood is sanded down meticulously, ensuring a smooth surface without any splinters. Then comes the painting or spraying, where the coffin is transformed into a vibrant, bold statement. These colorful, life-affirming designs are a stark contrast to the somber idea many have of funerals. For those commissioning these coffins, it's about making the funeral a memorable event. In Ghana, funerals are not just about mourning. They're lively celebrations where the community comes together to honor the life of the deceased, often resembling a party more than a traditional funeral. These events are filled with music, dancing, and feasting. The coffin becomes a centerpiece of the celebration, a symbol of the person's life and legacy. A well-crafted fantasy coffin ensures that the funeral will be talked about long after it's over, leaving a lasting impression on everyone who attends. The tradition of fantasy coffins has gained recognition far beyond Ghana's borders. Over the past 5 decades, it has become one of the country's most unique cultural exports. These coffins are shipped to countries around the world, including the United States, and have even been displayed in museums across Europe, showcasing the creativity and cultural significance of this remarkable craft. The coffins are made from materials like softwood and mahogany, known for their durability and beauty, and each one can cost up to $1,000, depending on the complexity of the design. While some may question the idea of such elaborate coffins, the craftsmen view their work as a way to respect and celebrate the dead. In Ghana, funerals are not meant to be somber occasions. They are joyful events, a time to celebrate the life that was lived. This is reflected in every aspect of the ceremony, from the vibrant coffins to the dancing pallbearers who carry them. These pallbearers, often dressed in flamboyant outfits, turn the funeral procession into a lively spectacle, swaying to music as they carry the coffin on their shoulders. It's a send-off unlike any other, one that embraces death as a natural part of life and honors the deceased in a deeply personal way. The fantasy coffin tradition is a powerful reminder of how different cultures view death. In many parts of the world, death is treated with a sense of finality and sorrow, but in Ghana, it is seen as a transition to another phase of existence, one that can be celebrated with creativity and joy. The coffins themselves become symbols of that transition, each one a work of art that captures the personality and spirit of the person who has passed. Whether it's shaped like an airplane for a pilot, a fish for a fisherman, or a hammer for a carpenter, these coffins turn the idea of death on its head, transforming it into something that is both personal and beautiful. The men who craft these coffins understand the deep emotional significance of their work. They are not simply carpenters. They are artists creating something that will be remembered long after the burial is over. For them, the act of building a coffin is about fulfilling a final dream, a way for people to leave a lasting mark on the world, even in death. And as they continue to shape wood into fantastic, colorful designs, they keep alive a tradition that not only honors the deceased, but also celebrates the beauty of life itself. In the end, these fantasy coffins serve as a reminder that death is not something to be feared, but embraced. They offer a final, joyful tribute to the lives that were lived, and in doing so, they blur the line between life and death. For those who choose to be buried in a fantasy coffin, their final resting place is more than just a grave. It's a celebration of everything they were and everything they stood for. Subscribe to Truth Revealed to stay intrigued and informed.